Shalom! Welcome to this week's MTV Junior. This is going to be a great show. So exciting. Okay, let's talk about what we're going to have on this week's show. First of all, let me introduce myself. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Uri Pilichowski, and I do these great shows for Baron Hirsch, the greatest show in the entire world in Memphis, Tennessee. And we do a kids show every single week, and I try to be your host for this great show. Sometimes we go on trips together, sometimes we tell stories, and we always have prizes, but we're not going to talk about the prizes yet. First, I'm going to tell you a little about myself. This is my family. I have a wife named Eliza, and I have 6 beautiful children, 5 girls and 1 boy. You can see in this picture that there are 1 wife and me standing next to each other, and there are 5 girls. They're all smiling because they're very happy people. They're very happy people because they get to live in Eretz Yisrael where I live. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And you can see I have one very, very funny son who wouldn't smile in this picture. He thought it'd be funnier if everybody else was smiling. He stood like this. So that's what he's doing in the picture. He's being very silly, but sometimes that's what boys do. They are silly. Okay, that's my family, and let me show you where I live. I live in a beautiful place called Mitzpeh Yericho in Eretz Yisrael. You can see on this map right here. Well, no, the map went over there. You can see on this map, there's a red balloon in Eretz Yisrael. That red balloon is where I live, right on the end of Eretz Yisrael, on the way to Jordan. And look how beautiful it is. Do you see all these mountains? When I look out my window, that's what I see. In fact, behind my camera right here is a window. I'm actually looking at this, not this picture, but the real life thing right there. I wish I could take you out of the screen, put you right here, and you'd be able to see it. But that would be really strange. Maybe one day we'll be able to do that. Can you imagine? Wow, that would be pretty cool. Okay, let's talk about what's on this week's show. Now, I know everybody wants one of these raffle tickets, right? That's what everybody wants, a raffle ticket. Okay, well, we're going to have a chance to win a lot of raffle tickets. All you got to do is make sure that you have a pen and a piece of paper so that you can write down the email address to send the answers to and your answers. So make sure you go get a piece of paper so you can write down the email address and write down your answers and then send them in. Maybe you need your mother or father's help with it, but that's okay if you do, that's fine. What else are we going to do on today's show? Because that's the question. It says, what's on today's show? Well, we're going to have a story about how the first siddur was ever written so long ago. They didn't even have computers back then. Can you imagine? That's how long ago the first siddur was written. And we're going to talk about the Hebrew word of the day. We're going to learn one milah be'ivrit, one word in Hebrew today. That's what we're going to learn. And we're going to talk about the oldest way in the entire world that people used to travel. I'll give you a hint. It wasn't by airplane. Okay, and we're going to see it live. Well, it'll be recorded live, but we're going to get to see it. Okay, that's what we're going to do today. So later on, we're going to have the word in Hebrew, but today we're going to have first, we're going to start off with a story. Now, you know, when we tell our first story, that means I have got to go on to a different room. I've got to go to the green room, and that means I have to go down my steps to my green room. And then after I go in my green room, I can go into my story room. So hold on first. I'm going to go in and then climb back up into my green room. Okay. And then I'm going to have to go to my story room. Okay, here we go. Are you guys ready? Now, this is going to be a great story, so enjoy. Oh, I'm going to tell you a story today about what's behind me, the siddur, and how we have a siddur. This is a story that starts off a little sad, but then gets very happy as we go on, all the way until the story lasts until today. So let me start with a story that starts very, very sad. The Jewish people lived in Eretz Yisrael. We had a Beit HaMikdash, and it was great. And we're talking about almost 2,500 years ago. It was a long time ago. And we had the mitzvah of davening to Hashem, of tefillah, of praying to Hashem. But there was no siddur. There was no text. There was no moda'ani. There was no brachot. There was no there was Shema, but there was no Shemona Esrei. There was no tefillah. There was no one had a siddur. So how did you daven if you didn't have a siddur? So it's very simple. You would go outside, and this is really how it was done. This is how everybody used to daven. You'd go outside and you'd say three things. You'd say how great Hashem was. You'd say, Hashem, I know how great you are. You make us happy, and you give us great food, and you make us healthy, and everything is great, and you are great. That's number one. You praise Hashem. In Hebrew, it's called Shevach. Then the second part of your prayer, the second part of your tefillah, would say, Hashem, these are the things I need. I need to be a little smarter in school. Please make me smarter. And whatever you needed, you would ask Hashem for. Hashem, my elbow hurts. Hashem, could you make my elbow feel better today? And that's what you would ask for, all the things. And then maybe you'd ask for to have Mashiach, or to have Melech David come back. You would ask for different things. Whatever you wanted to ask for, you were allowed to ask for. And then the last thing is you would thank Hashem. You'd say, Hashem, thank you so much for doing so many great things, especially for keeping us alive. And then you would be done with your davening. That would be your whole tefillah. Some people's tefillah was only 2 minutes long. And sometimes they only did it once a day. But then the Jewish people stopped doing mitzvot. And they stopped listening to Hashem. And they started being mean to each other. And unfortunately, that's what began to happen. And Hashem sent a big Rasha, a big bad person, he had a really long name, Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar came in, and he was really mean, and he was really bad to the Jewish people. And he killed a lot of Jewish people. He destroyed the Beit HaMikdash, and he told the Jewish people, now you are not going to get to live here in Eretz Yisrael, in your land. I'm going to put you into chains and make you prisoners. This is the sad part of the story. I'm going to burn your Beit HaMikdash, and I'm going to make you come with me back to where I live, in a place called Bavel, which is far away from here. And the Jewish people were very sad about this. They had to move all the way to Bavel. They were not happy about this at all. And the Jewish people went to Bavel, and when they got there, they didn't speak the language that they spoke in Eretz Yisrael. It was a whole different language, and they didn't know the language. So they had to learn the new language, and as they were learning the new language, they began to forget the old language. And then when it came time to daven, they were very sad, and they couldn't think of what life was going to be like, not being in Eretz Yisrael and not having a Beit HaMikdash. And they were just very, very sad. And they couldn't think of the right words to say in davening. So the great rabbis at the time, they were part of a group of rabbis, of 120 rabbis, called the Anshe Knesset Agdola. And you know some of them. One of them was Mordechai from the Purim story. They sat down, they said, the Jewish people are having a lot of trouble coming up with the right words to daven. They don't know how to daven. So what we're going to do is we're going to write tefillot for them. We're going to write prayers for them so that they can just read the prayers, and that'll be the words that they need. Now, there was one Jew named Yosef. He's just a regular Jew, not famous. And Yosef was really sad every single day. Because every single day, Yosef would go and he would try to daven to Hashem, but he couldn't find the right words. First, he would try in Hebrew, but he didn't remember all the words in Hebrew. Then he would try in the new language called Aramite, and he didn't know it well enough. So he didn't have the right words to say to Hashem, but he really missed when he used to daven, when he used to pray in Eretz Yisrael. So this Yosef, one day, there's a message comes from the Anshe Knesset Agdola, and he said, we've written something called a Siddur. It has all the tefillot, all the prayers that you have to say every day. And Yosef looked at his Siddur like this, and he opened it up, and he read the words, and he was so happy, because now he got to daven to Hashem like he was used to. And that is how we have a Siddur. And when we open up our Siddur, we should look at it and say, oh, this is so beautiful. Now I know what to say. And that's how we have a Siddur, and that's why we should be happy when we get to daven and we have a siddur for ourselves to daven. Shalom. Okay, that was an interesting story about how we have the very first siddur ever. Pretty cool, I have to say. That was something that I'll bet you didn't know. I bet you thought that the first siddur was made in like a factory somewhere and somebody wrote it on a computer and that's how we have it. Well, guess what time it is now? Now it is time for our Hebrew word of the day. And as I'm sure you could see behind me, the Hebrew word of the day today is sus. Samach vav samach. Sus. And a sus means a horse. That's what it means. So our Hebrew word is sus. So write that down. And if you send the word sus and tell me sus was the Hebrew word of the day on MTV Junior, and you send it into this email address, you can win a raffle ticket. And whoever's raffle ticket is chosen wins a great prize. So send it in right here to this email address. Let's look at the word again. It is sus. Sus is the Hebrew word of the day. Okay, and make sure you send it right here to this email address. And now we are going to go and see a cool, we're going to go on a trip actually together. So we got to get our trip clothes on. Next, I have to go get changed. So you're going to have to excuse me for a minute. Okay, I'm going to go and get changed. Hold on. I'm going down. I'm going to come back up in my green room. Okay, I'm in the green room. I didn't get changed yet. I'm going to get changed in a minute. Okay, and we're going to go on a trip to see the oldest way of getting around. Here we go. Get ready, folks. Here it is.
Okay, today we are going to have a video about very unique and special ways that you can travel around Israel. And we're going to show different ways you can travel around Israel. We're actually going to focus on one really unique way that people travel around Israel, that they've been traveling around Israel this way for thousands of years. So I'm sitting in my car. You can see I have my seatbelt on because I'm safe. And obviously I'm pulled over because we don't take a video while we're driving. And we're going to show something, a really old-fashioned way that's still being used. But first I want to show you where we are, okay? And I'm going to show you where we are so that you get a sense. Right now, we're by the Dead Sea. So if you see these signs, it's hard to see what the signs say. Let's see if we can zoom in on the signs. No. Okay, well, in any case, it says that we're 388 meters below sea level at the Dead Sea. This is actually the lowest place in all of Earth. Right now, I'm staying in the lowest place of Earth. So we're going to drive out of here, and I'm going to set the video so that you can watch with and still be safe with me driving. And we're going to drive somewhere, and we're going to be driving up. Right? We're going to be going up because we're in the lowest place on Earth. And I'm going to drive somewhere to show you where we see the oldest way of traveling in the entire world, and people still travel this way. Okay, see you soon. Okay, now we are going. You can see here's a sign in Hebrew and in English for the police. It says Mishtara, right, which means police. And now we are driving all the way up. We're not driving north, we're driving up. We're going to be going on mountains all the way up. And now the question is, if you lived 3,000 years ago and you were Avram Avinu, who used to be right near here, this is right near Sodom, where all of where Avram fought wars. So this is probably around the area where Avram fought. Some of you might have traveled to here, might have traveled to Yam and seen this. But the question is, how did you travel all this far away? They didn't have roads that looked like this. They were traveling like what it looked like over there. So how did they go ahead and do that? And that's what we're going to look for today. Okay, hi everybody. Now I want to show you, you can see I'm in the middle of the desert, but you can see there's cars racing behind me to get to the Dead Sea or to get back to their houses. I want to show you how thousands of years ago people used to travel. Now, how they did it is right over there, but what's also very cool is that right near the way they used to travel are these cool stores where we're going to be able to look for some really old and interesting artifacts from Eretz Yisrael from a long time ago. But I wonder if you have guessed yet how it is that people used to travel so long ago. Well, we're going to see in about 1 minute how people used to travel, how they used to go all around the land of Israel. Avram Avinu, Yitzchak Avinu, Yaakov Avinu. How was it that they went all around Eretz Yisrael and without a car? How was it? Let's see soon. Okay, we're going to get to see how some people go on to the camel. Now, this gets a little difficult because people aren't used to getting onto a camel, right? This is not okay, but look, okay. This woman, she got onto the camel. She's fine, okay? And look, here we go. Watch this. Okay, now there are Bedouin owners of the camel, okay? You can see him. This is our Bedouin camel owner, okay? And you can see his son helps him out over here. Here's his son. And this couple is going on to the camel. Okay, now watch this. They have no idea what's about to happen because this is her first time on a camel. She doesn't know what's going to happen in about a minute. They're taking pictures. Now watch this. Whoa! Do you see how the camel got up? Okay, now watch this. Okay, just like Sarah and just like Rachel and Leah and Rivka, this is how all our imahot would travel all around Eretz Yisrael. Exactly like this. This is how Avram and Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, they would travel. You can see there's cars, but this is how, now look how fast this camel is. We got to catch up. Everybody's got to run to catch up to this camel. Let's see if we can run a little. I'm not that big of a runner, but we can run and see how this camel, look at this. Isn't this incredible? Okay. And they're going on a ride. Now, what would you do to be able to come to Eretz Yisrael and ride on a camel just like they are? Look how happy she is, right? Now, everybody thinks that the way you should travel is with a plane, with a car, with a boat. You don't need any of those things. All you need is a camel, and you can go anywhere. And camels don't have to eat that much. They don't have to drink that much. I think I'm going to sell my car and get myself a camel. That makes the most sense. Now, we're going to watch when this nice woman gets down off the camel. How do you think you get down off a camel? You can't jump off a camel, and there's no ladder to climb off a camel. So how do you get off the camel? Let's go. Watch this. Here we go. Okay, now you can see his son is telling the camel to get down, and the camel is having none of it. Whoa! Here we go. He gets down on his knees, and then down on the knees over here. And boom, there we go. And that's it. That's how you get off the camel. Pretty cool. Okay, let's go say hello to the camel. Camel's saying hello. Okay. Say hello to the camel. I wonder what this camel's name is. Here we go, watch this. Okay. Here's our Avram Avinu getting up on the camel. Whoa. Okay, look at that.
All the kids are watching.
There we go. There he goes. Okay, so today we learned about traveling all around Eretz Yisrael and how they used to travel thousands of years ago on camels. And they used to not just have one camel, but they'd have a ton of camels as he goes by. Have a ton of camels that they would travel together in what was called a caravan of camels together. And you'd have a string of 20, 30 camels, and they'd have all their possessions, all their luggage, all their blankets, their pillows, all their clothes would be on top of the camel. And they'd go from one place to the other, and there'd be tents folded up on the camel. And then when they got to a place where they wanted to sleep that night, they would simply put everything down and open up their tents and sleep there for the night. And they'd find a place for camels. Camels only have to drink once every 3 days. And they drink a ton for themselves. And then they have it for the next 3 days. So if you're traveling through the desert, a camel is the way you really want to go. So what do you guys think? End of the video. Now you've learned all there is about camels and how people used to travel from place to place. So what do you think? Do you think I should sell my car and just buy a camel and go around on a camel? I don't know, maybe that's what we should do. Who knows? Maybe I'll do that. Okay, this is it, folks. This is how people used to get around. This was the modern place that people used to go. They used to use a camel. They would go on camels from thousands of years ago. They'd go all over. You could see this camel's coming up. Say hello to the camel. There he goes. Look at him. And this is how you travel. They didn't have cars. They didn't have planes. They didn't have boats. They just had a ton of camels. And you can see the camel, he's sort of like shaking his tuchus at us. But this is what they would do. They would have camels. You could sit up on top of the camel over here. You can see this is the seat. It's called the saddle of the camel. Okay, and we're going to see soon how you get up to the camel, because look how high up he is. Okay, he's pretty high up. If I'd go like this, and you'd see, right? You'd see he's pretty high up in the air for a person to just climb on. You can't like really jump on top. So we're going to see two people are going to ride the camel, and we're going to watch how they rode the camel. Okay, that's till the next part of the video.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. That was pretty cool to see a camel. Okay, let's go on to the next part of our show, which is going to tell us how to win more prizes. Are you guys ready? Okay, let's see what we've got. We have our game, and then one last question to win prizes. So here's the email address. We're going to do our memory game. I'm going to tell you 5 things. I'm going to say them slow, then fast, then slow, the 5 things. If you write them down, send them to this email address, you win a prize. Here we go. Camel. Hump. On the back of a camel. Avram. Sarah. And sitter. Now I'm going to say them fast, and then I'll say them slow again. Camel, hump, Avram, Sarah, sitter. And now I'll say them slow. Camel, hump, Avram, Sarah, and sitter. All you gotta do is send those 5 words to that email address. Say, I got it. Send me raffle tickets. Let me win the prize. And then you will win the prize. Okay. Last thing that we're going to do is our last way of winning raffle tickets. You can win 2 raffle tickets. If you send me this answer to the email address, just tell me what's this week's Parsha. Just tell me, send me this week's Parsha to that email address, and you can win a raffle ticket. Okay, folks, don't forget to read the Shabbat newsletter. It's given out in shul, and it's sent home by email. It has games, prizes that you can win, jokes, Divrei Torah on the Parsha, all for kids. All you got to do is open it up, read it. You'll love it. You can do it on Shabbos and after Shabbos, and you will absolutely, absolutely love it. And it's a great, great, great thing to have and to win more prizes. Okay, shalom, everybody.